Okay. We need to talk a little bit about the new wedding pack for The Sims 4. So my wedding story is officially released yesterday, but I've actually had early access to the pack for over a week. So I have played with this pack a lot. Like a lot more than I normally would before I post a review video, because usually the early access periods are significantly shorter. And the reason I've been holding off on posting an official review, like should you buy this pack kind of video, is because I didn't feel comfortable making it before we had the official release this time. Because the early access game that I was playing, they kept calling not final software, implying there would be some sort of day zero patch or the game would be different when it officially released to everyone else yesterday. So I wanted to play that version, a hopefully less buggy version, before I told you like, hey, this pack isn't good. Because just because my week of early access wasn't that good didn't mean the pack wouldn't be that good, right? We'll get to that. But I want to first explain like the early access thing and why this not final software business is odd. Because we have had games that are not final software before, but all of the times that I've had not final software has always been expansion packs. Specifically Eco Lifestyle, Snowy Escape, and Cottage Living. Those are the only 3 packs we've had that for. We got really early access to those packs, but they were very strict about it. It was a small group of people. It was a separate version of The Sims 4 in my origin library, and I only had it for 7 days. So it was like The Sims 4 base game and the new pack. It had that weird watermark floating around it that had my username. You might remember that. We have never had that for game packs. Usually things like game packs and stuff packs will get those like 1 or 2 days early, like we were supposed to with this pack. But in those times, we never have to put like some not final software disclaimer, because usually by that point, when you're giving me like a code to the pack, it is final software. This time though, it was different. So in this video, I want to walk you through my experiences attempting to play the pack yesterday after it came out, and then also like in my opinion what the pros and cons are and whether or not I think you should buy it. Okay. So for starters, the stream yesterday, I was having a lot of fun. So if you were there yesterday, you might have noticed like the energy was very different from the first half to the second half of the stream. There was a very stark turning point when I tried to have a wedding ceremony. So in the stream, basically I made a clone of Eliza Pancakes, gave her brown hair and said, hey, that's me. And then but Eliza, who is me, went to go break up Nancy and Jeffrey Landgrab's marriage, convinced Jeffrey Landgrab to dump her and marry me instead. And then I went around trying to make friends to invite to my wedding. So I became besties with Vladdy Daddy. I dressed him up so he could be my flower pal. I convinced Don Lothario to be my officiant. I tried to invite Agnes, but that did not go well, so I gave up. Like, I was truly having a blast preparing for the wedding. I was even making plans to kill Nancy when I got to the wedding. I was gonna have like a murder party at my wedding. We were all joking, we were laughing. It was a great time. My batch party and my rehearsal dinner both went pretty well. And then we got to the ceremony. And the problem with the ceremony is that it doesn't work. There's just so many bugs. The Sims don't behave the way you want them to. It's really frustrating and it's not fun. And that's when the mood shifted of the stream from like, haha, this game is hilarious to, oh my god, I am so frustrated. And I think the important takeaway from this is that I had a lot of fun yesterday playing The Sims 4. I did not have fun playing the pack. There are a lot of things that I do really like about this pack, so I want to go through those first, and then I'll get to why I don't like it and the problems with it. Hands down, the single best selling point of this pack is the new world. Honestly, at this point, this is like the only selling point for me. I will say right now that I am very impressed by this world. I've been saying for weeks since the pack got announced that I thought it would have 4 lots. Like, I was fully prepared for a very small world. In my head, I was picturing something kind of like Magnolia Promenade, like really tiny. So this has actually blown me away. It's 2 neighborhoods, but it has 9 lots, way bigger than I was anticipating. And also there's a lot of areas in this world that your Sims can walk around that are not lots. You can see them on the map, but like these 2 beaches are both completely functional. Only one's a lot, but this one is basically a lot. I mean, you can use it like one. You can swim in the water and everything. And your Sims can walk around like everywhere. There's this maze, there's these walking paths all around. You can come all the way out to the lighthouse. The whole town square is functional. Like, it actually takes forever for your Sims to walk from this house to the lounge. I keep teleporting them because it's so annoying how long it takes. Sounds like a bad thing, but I mean it as a positive. And then same thing up here. This is also a functional beach. It's not a lot, but like your Sims can play in the sand. They can like lay on the lounge chairs. They can swim in this whole area. They can walk all the way around this, even up by the waterfall. In my opinion, this world is better than a lot of the expansion pack worlds. I'll compare it to Del Sol Valley, and I will say it might not be a fair comparison because I hate this world. This world only has 2 more lots than Tartosa, and there's way less usable, cool space outside of those areas. Like, you're not gonna be walking around swimming in the beach down here. There's not really much to do up in the mansion space except look at the mansions. But those fake beach lots in Tartosa are a huge plus. I've always said that I really wish wish this beach area was functional. And now knowing that it's possible, I feel really sad. Granted, this was like pre-island living, so the whole like ocean swimming thing wasn't built out yet, but it's a shame. I think that Del Sol Valley kind of got done dirty. So overall, this world is like incredible. If I were not a YouTuber, I would probably buy this pack just for the world. I don't mean that you should, but I would probably come to that conclusion myself. I also really like the cast in this pack. I think it fills kind of a big void of formal wear. It's great to have more options, and there's also a pretty wide variety of them. There's like super elegant things and like slightly more casual formal options. There's lots of wedding gowns, but also like wedding guest attire. We have things that work for all ages. There's accessories, there's even a nail polish. Same with the build. I think it is super cute, and I was really excited to have more wedding arch options because we're kind of lacking in that department. I also love the windows and doors. Like, I would love to have more of them. It's also kind of the first time we've gotten any like event type decor, so it kind of fills a void there as well. And you could use those things for other events and not just weddings. I also think that in general, this pack is pretty inclusive. They've added a lot of diversity when it comes to the cast and also the build items. I'm glad they're kind of leaning towards more gender inclusive language as well. Think like using the word flower pal instead of flower girl. Flower pal is honestly cuter, and I'm just glad that they thought about that and did that. As far as the gameplay goes, there's actually a lot of things that I really loved about this pack. They made so many adorable new animations. I think my favorite is the group wedding dance feature. I didn't know you could do this until yesterday, but you can basically start a group wedding dance on the dance floor, even if you're not actually doing a wedding. They just call it a wedding dance. And it's like they're line dancing. Like, the animations are actually hilarious. The slow dancing as well, like the couple can have a first dance, anyone can slow dance, parents and kids can slow dance. There was a lot more effort put into the dancing than I was anticipating, and I'm really glad they did that. It's also super cute how everyone reacts when you walk down the aisle. The animations of like the crowd reacting as you're walking down the aisle are also super cute, if it works. But there's like variants. They'll get all excited and like sigh, kind of get weepy. They'll also get mad. Like, I had Sims Grumpy at my wedding. I literally tried to have my wedding, like me with my real life friends in attendance, and they were all being mean during it. They were like rolling their eyes. First of all, Steffo Sims, that's rude, but also it's kind of funny. Your Sims can trip while walking up the aisle. They can bonk noses while trying to kiss and have to like try again. There's a lot of like little cute details like that I really enjoyed. Yesterday on stream when I was playing as Eliza, but not Eliza because I was me, Eliza and me showed up to my batch party in the same outfit because we were clones. And so I was like, wow, I'm gonna fight her. And then I discovered that you can kick someone out of your wedding party. Like, there was a full interaction, kick out a wedding party, and she got a sentiment from it. I loved that, thought it was hilarious. I think the new tea sets are super useful. Honestly, I'll probably use those the most frequently out of everything in the whole pack, just because they kind of fit into my everyday gameplay better. The buffet table, I am so glad they finally freed that buffet table from Stupid Luxury Party. It's a really useful item. You can serve like lots of food all at once. They added some more options of food to it, and now you can actually get that table without having to buy the dumb Luxury Party pack, because let's be real, this pack might not be great, but anything is better than Luxury Party. That is actually a waste of money. There are also a lot of really cute interactions in this pack. You can announce your engagement. You can like ask a married person about their wedding and you get like a cute little inspired moodlet. You can express your doubts about the wedding and your fiance kind of gets upset. They put a lot of effort into making more like dialogue interactions related to weddings, which I'm glad they did, because honestly, it's kind of weird that we didn't have that before. Like, a person who just got engaged would obviously be announcing it to people, and we couldn't even do that back in the day. I think my two favorite features though are that now the whole family can be more involved in the wedding. I love that you can have someone from your family be your flower pal and your ring bearer. I like picking a sim of honor. Officiants don't work for me, but that's cute too. So when it works, I'm really glad that like the whole family is actually more involved in the wedding process. It's just way more realistic. And I'm also really impressed by like the wide variety of wedding events. I did not anticipate getting like a giant list of new events we can plan, and really they're all like the same. It's just different labels on them, but that's okay with me. Like, I love having the option to make a batch party and a rehearsal dinner, an engagement dinner. Before, we used to just kind of pretend to do those things, so I like having an actual option to do it. And again, I am really impressed by the length of that list. Like, I thought we'd maybe get, and again, I am really impressed by the length of that list. I did not expect it. But there is the whole issue of, you know, the pack not working. So while there are a lot of things that I like about this pack that I think are super adorable, the core issue still stands. It's not fun if it doesn't work. So I have a list here of the most annoying glitches that I encountered, and none of them were fixed yesterday. First of all, at the wedding itself, your Sims do not behave the way you want them to. The whole pack is very micromanagey. Like, you can say, hey guests, time to sit, time for cake, time for this, time for that, but it doesn't even work really. And I think part of the problem is that when they sit, they sit. Like, when you tell them, hey everybody, time to sit for the ceremony, ceremony, they say, okay, I'm sitting. And then you'll be like, now it's time for cake. And they'll say, no, sorry, I'm sitting. And they'll just stay seated and not move. So you can't really do anything else because they're just like sitting at the ceremony. Or if it does work, like only some will actually do it. And honestly, it's all kind of odd and disjointed. Like you're trying to be like, hey, walk down the aisle. Now you walk down the aisle. But like Nancy's in the way, so you're trying to walk around her. It's just, it's very frustrating. I have never in all of the weddings I've tried to throw had the officiants work. So when you try to get actually married, you click on the wedding arch and there's a few different options, all like different ways to exchange vows basically. And every time I try and select with officiant, nothing happens. You have to ask someone to officiate your wedding so you can like, you know, meet the mailman, become besties, and then say, hey, do you want to be my officiant? And they'll say yes. You'll set it up in the little menu. They'll come to the wedding. It'll say officiant above their head. But when you click on it, nothing happens. No interactions queued. Doesn't matter if they're in or out of your household. It never works. I've never seen it. I even tried doing it on like different lots. Like maybe this lot is the reason it's not working. Maybe like they can't get to the back of the arch. No, doesn't work. Also, the bouquet toss, super cute concept. You can have your sim hold their bouquet and then click the ground and be like, start bouquet toss. And then the little sims kind of start scrambling to get behind them. But they don't stay there. They kind of just walk away. They'll even like stand behind a wall. Like you'll be outside and they'll be inside and they'll act like they can catch the bouquet still. You cue the interaction to throw it. It doesn't work. It just, the whole bouquet toss thing, it's only worked twice for me. And one of the times they were behind a wall. They caught it through a wall. The default wedding venue in this pack is prone to glitches. And I want to show you why. Firstly, this is not the fault of the person who built it. Like the tester should have caught this and told them so it could be fixed, but it wasn't. And again, it is not Hey Harry's fault at all in any way. This is absolutely not directed at her. The lot itself is absolutely stunning, but the issue is that there's two different wedding setups. There's an arch inside and an arch outside. So in my gameplay, when you try and get married, say I'm trying to do the wedding outside, I'm like all prepped to walk down this aisle. I got my two sims here and I say, okay, guests, time to gather, sit down. And they'll be like, okay, I'm gonna sit down. And then 3 of them sit here, but 2 others are unaware. They didn't get the memo and they say, okay, I'm ready. And they sit down in here. I think because the sims are like, oh, aisle, I'll sit next to it. And obviously they don't know which aisle you're planning on using. So if you're gonna try and have your wedding here, I recommend like deleting maybe the door to this area or getting rid of this aisle perhaps, and maybe the wedding arch, just to see if it makes them understand a little bit better. I haven't playtested all of the other wedding venues, but I have playtested 2 of them. This one worked and this one worked, but these are in your library. They gave you like extra ones to replace the lots with. So these might be easier, but I think that part of the problem is the 2 wedding arches. Not a game breaking issue. Just think of it as like a, I need to encourage my sims to go to the right place kind of issue. I've also had really bad luck with the dress code and the wedding cake. So in game, when you try and plan the wedding event, you can select a dress code. There's like 2 options, boho and polished. And you can also pick a color scheme if you want. But every time I do that, I press check mark, I set the wedding. When I go back in, it's like unselected. It got rid of it. Every single time, without fail. It's never worked. And also, all of your guests will come to the wedding in their everyday outfits, including the couple who is getting married. They'll just show up like this to the wedding, and then you have to be like, no, change your outfit, put on the dress I selected. Meanwhile, grandma's got flip-flops on. Like, it's just so annoying. There are also 3 ways to get wedding cakes in this game. You can bake them, you can order them online, or you could buy them from the little wedding cake shop in town. So when you go to order it, you can just click on a computer and say purchase wedding cake. You can buy whatever one you choose. It'll put it in your Sims inventory. So then you have to put it on a counter and then say, it doesn't work. Oh no. Well, you put it on the counter and then you select it as your wedding cake. There you go. Now it worked. And then it just disappears. It says the cake has been saved and will be available for his wedding. So when you go into the wedding planning menu and the cake is there, so it should be all set, right? No, because for some reason it keeps coming out of there and going back into my Sims inventory. And bear in mind, it only lasts 10 hours before it spoils. So in all this, like in the void, in the inventory, in the void, in the inventory, it spoils. So my advice to you with that, do not buy the wedding cake until like the day of the ceremony, right before you leave. Just order it online really fast and bring it with you. Don't bother setting it. It doesn't work. And also, they won't cut the cake. I have never seen them cut it, not once. You can feed it to the other person, but they won't cut it. There's a whole like cut cake interaction, doesn't work. I think the UI is also a little bit confusing in this pack. So when you're actually first planning the wedding, you can't do most of this stuff yet. The only thing you can do is pick the bride or groom and then invite guests. When you try and pick a sim of honor or an officiant, there's nobody there. And that's by design. It's because you have to plan the wedding first and then in game talk to sims and ask them to be involved. So once your wedding is planned, you'll now have the option to like click on your kid and say, hey, do you want to be the flower pal? And then once you've talked to them, they said yes, the option will be there to make them the flower pal. And then it'll be set. So it's kind of weird. You can't do it from this menu yet, but it sort of looks like you can. Same with the cake. Like you can't like click on this and pick a cake. You have to do it in gameplay. It does tell you that right here, but it's kind of confusing if you didn't read it. As far as like build and cast stuff goes, I am happy with those things. I do feel they're a little bit lacking in some areas. For example, this is really not a builder's pack. There's a lot of great stuff, but not a huge variety of it. Like we got these incredible windows. I'm gonna use these all the time. I'm obsessed with them. They've got super awesome swatches. I love the blue and green. And we also got these incredible doors. I love them. And we also got a blue and green, but it's a different blue and green. Why are they not the same? Honest question. Why don't they match? I would have loved to have seen like 5 more swatch options on these. I love them, but please, come on. Also in cast, there is only 1 hairstyle for masculine frame Sims. 1. And there's only 3 pairs of shoes. 1 masculine shoe and 2 feminine shoes. And there's no heels. It's not a huge problem, but it just kind of surprised me. So overall, my final thoughts. I am completely unsurprised by all of this. I am disappointed, but I'm not surprised. Thinking about it, I kind of am convinced that this pack was destined to never work. Like the kind of tasks that we're sort of asking our Sims to do, I don't know if The Sims 4 is capable of doing things like that well. Are any of us really surprised that Sims are not behaving properly at an event? Like that's always happened. I want it to be fixed, don't get me wrong, I'm not making excuses, but I'm not surprised. Like the default wedding venue in the new world not working just because there's 2 wedding arches, like are we surprised by that? No. I could have seen that coming from a mile away. Like, of course the Sims can't figure it out. Of course they can't. I also think a lot of this pack feels a little bit empty. Like, you go to the town center to plan your whole wedding, and you click on a couple little stalls to buy a flower bouquet and order a cake, but you probably shouldn't order the cake because it's gonna spoil. And then, like, click on a fake wedding dress shop to go into Cass and dress your Sim. And then, boom, your whole wedding's planned. Again, I'm not surprised by that. Like, I think they did well to make those areas look good given the game's limitations. But, like, the entirety of your wedding planning is like going to a flower stall downtown. And that's also like the entirety of downtown. I think the biggest issue with this pack is that it feels rushed. And you know what? I think it was rushed. I'm guessing there was a lot of pressure behind the scenes to finish this pack in time for a Valentine's Day release. And they probably knew they couldn't do it, but they got forced to put it out anyway. And I think that's why a lot of this is the way that it is. So as it stands, I don't think I can recommend that you buy this pack. Keeping in mind that if you buy this pack, it will override the old wedding system. You will no longer be able to have base game weddings the old way. And I mean like how you would plan a party and it would have like gold stars and like a little task list. This pack replaces that. Only for weddings, and you can still like elope and stuff. You can still have your Sims just like walk somewhere and get married by themselves. But if you want to plan a wedding party, this pack will replace it, and it doesn't work. My whole chat yesterday was like, is there an option in settings to disable the weddings and go back to the old ones? Because they wanted to keep the world but not the weddings. That's how bad it is. People are asking to disable a pack that they bought. And I won't lie to you, there are a lot of things that I do like a lot about this pack, but this is by far the most broken pack they have ever released. They've definitely released things with glitches before, but nothing to this scale. It like really and truly does not work right. And it's not fun to play when that keeps happening. Like I mentioned earlier, I've been having a lot of fun playing The Sims recently, but I have not had fun with the pack. And I think that kind of answers the question, is the pack worth buying? I don't think so. You might like it. There's probably a lot of things that you're going to enjoy about it. And again, that world is a huge selling point. But if weddings are the main appeal to you, I'm really not sure I can recommend this one. I did not want to make this video. This is not fun for me. I'm just sad. Like, I'm really, really, truly sad and so disappointed this release has gone this way. I was so excited about this pack and it doesn't work. It's just frustrating. But hey, cowplant cake toppers, you know? At least there's that. So that's it. That's my review of my wedding stories. If you're looking for some more wedding pack related content and trying to see like, hey, is this worth it for me? I'll link my videos on it down below. I posted a bunch. And I'll also link my Twitch stream channel. I post like my Twitch streams on YouTube after I'm done streaming. So I can link those like longer form videos too if you want to see them. And if you like Sims news, if you like Sims content, I post a lot of Sims videos. Obviously, I kind of have a little Sims channel going on here. So feel free to subscribe. I hope you're doing well. I am genuinely sorry the pack sucks. Like, I'm sad. And I bet you're sad too. And with that being said, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, everybody. Do you know what though? This wedding cake video where I tried to get rich baking wedding cakes was actually really fun. So if you're looking for some positive wedding content, I mean, that one's there. And it's got a hot dog man, so you can't go wrong.